Right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the call. I'm just going to spotlight our amazing friends and colleagues in doTERRA. So, just to sort of give you a little bit of insight, guys, we first met this lovely couple in Sicily at the airport, actually, as we were all getting onto a bus heading off somewhere. We kind of spotted some friendly faces and some friendly doTERRA backpacks, and it actually, when we'd qualified for Sicily, Ali took the call from doTERRA headquarters, and they said that we qualified, and Ali said that, that's really wonderful, but we don't think we can go because we can't be away from Ellen. doTERRA, we didn't probably even realise how fantastic they were at that point, because they just went, yeah, that's no problem, you can take Ellen. We'll just get you a family room. And I was like, oh, wow, we're going, that's cool. So then we were, set to go and everything. And then we're going, but how many other kids will there be there? And we might be the only people with children. And so when we arrived at the airport and spotted someone else with a buggy, we were like, yes, fantastic. And we got chatting, I think, just by the bus. And we were like, they're lovely. And I was like, yeah, I've seen a video of that lady on the internet. She's like doTERRA famous. And I was like, is she? That's cool. And, I think throughout our trip, we got through many different chats and bits and pieces. But we really sort of looked at these guys who are obviously great leaders in the business and looked at how they interacted with their team and how much time they spent, and they cared for everybody and chatted to absolutely everybody. And you kind of got this sense of this lovely couple, and the more we've sort of spent any bits of time with them, the more that's true. So Ziggy and Ellen got to spend quite a bit of time together on holiday and over other bits at conference and other bits and pieces like that. And now they have their own wonderful little daughter. So of the 4 children, Indy's just come along, and she's smiling just like a mum. Yeah. So that's absolutely fabulous. So a really truly lovely couple. And for those of you who don't know their doTERRA story, I know they're going to spend a lot of time with that, but and some of the bits and pieces that are going to help us. But just 15 months into the business, hit the diamond level, and then onto blue diamond level. So absolute superstars, and I know they've got a boatload of knowledge that they're going to share with us tonight. So with that, I'm going to hand you over to Emily and Tim Mascarenhas, and welcome to the call. Thank you very much, guys. And I don't know where you want to start, but really over to you.
Oh, thank you. That's what an amazing introduction.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we definitely felt the same as you guys when we met you. doTERRA is just such an incredible family, and everyone tends to be so heart-centered and on a similar sort of mission and wanting to change the lives of other people. But you do just meet some people, don't you, that you feel an instant connection with, and we definitely did with you guys. And lovely Ellen and Ziggy, they formed a friendship, didn't they? And so it's a real privilege for you guys to ask us on, and thank you so much, because when you have someone from another team or another leader and you invite them onto your team call, you kind of have to trust them with your people, don't you? So it's a real privilege to be asked, and we hope that you guys all get something from our call this evening, and it lands. So I guess we'll start by sharing how this began.
Yeah, I was just going to say as well before we start, I'm just looking here. I think there's 96 participants on this call. That's what a team you've got there. That's amazing. 96 of you all coming together on a call. So good for you. It's an amazing number of people.
Yeah, and type in the chat where you're tuning in from as well, everybody.
Yeah, and obviously, you're all going to be at completely different stages where you are with doTERRA. Some of you might have just jumped on this call a very early stage because you're just wanting to know a little bit more, find out a bit more. Some of you might be a bit further down the line. So we'll try and sort of broadly, generally cover as best we can. Try not to lose people. Dorset, one of my favourite parts of the world. We've worked in Sunderland a few times. South Africa, goodness me, a lot from South Africa.
Awesome.
So good. You know how to use the chat. We might need that in a bit, because we're going to ask you to maybe
get involved
a little bit, so we can sort of pitch where you want to take this next 40 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. So to begin with, I'll just sort of share a quick story about me and how this started for me, and then how it became us, and where we've come to right now. So 10 years ago, I started my journey into health, as it were, and that was really triggered because I lost my father quite suddenly, and he was somebody that was very dear to me, and he was literally here with me 1 minute and then he wasn't anymore, and it really triggered something within me. It was like a catalyst for me to start to think about life in general and what mattered, and certainly our health is something that is obviously the most important thing. If we haven't got our health, it doesn't matter what else we do have. And so that journey, I started exploring lots of different alternative more holistic approaches to wellness, and along that journey I discovered essential oils, but I didn't really know that much about them and exactly how much they could do and how powerful they were. And then not long after I lost my father, I became a mother for the first time. So that really changed everything. For those of you that are mothers here, you'll know obviously we have this incredible burning desire within us to want to protect our children from the world, is how I felt. It was almost, I think, a bit of a control mechanism within me, having lost somebody so close and then having this new person and this responsibility. And so I really wanted to find the best ways to look after my baby. He's now 9 and I started exploring lots of different options, and then we first met in the theatre. So we're creative people, and living our dreams, living our passion, and we worked a lot in some big shows all over the world, which was incredible, and I'm very grateful because that's how we met, but also the most unstable work in the world.
I think you always know when you work in the theatre industry, the back of your mind, there's no stability whatsoever, and the ups and the downs are just crazy, and the jobs you have to do in between work are, well, anything that anyone's prepared to pay you to do that's going to be for a short period of time until you get something else, or a longer period of time because you don't get anything else, and it's very unpredictable, and you kind of always have that feeling of especially when we had started to have children, we need something else here. We need something to back this up. We need something, we never had that before. And that's when, well, doTERRA didn't actually come first. We did try something else first. Do you want to explain that?
We bought a music franchise called Caterpillar Music, and that involved teaching music classes to babies and children, and driving around with a car full of drums and maracas and puppets, and then the odd children's party at the weekend. So I used to quite like being Mary Poppins. Any of you that came to Northampton a few weeks ago will have seen we did a revisit of Mary Poppins.
I had to sing the Hokey Cokey 12 times a week.
Yeah, and life was fun, and it was an amazing transition for us, because that way I was able to still be with my children. However, financially, we didn't have any freedom, and it was extremely hard work, and Tim was still working in the theatre at the time. So he was cycling in every day to perform 8 shows a week in Phantom of the Opera, and then cycling home, and then we were getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning to drive the children to take the children to school, and then off to the music classes to do the Hokey Cokey. And we did that for several years, but it didn't really feel like we were on the right path, however, we were hugely grateful for where we were, because I really believe that where we find ourselves in life, it's never a mistake. It's our journey, isn't it? And it leads us to where we need to be. And actually, looking back now, it was a really important part of our journey, because we built up some relationships with the community, and we learned how to be responsible for our own business. And it was hard work. We had to keep going. We had to keep continuing with that stamina every day, just like when we were in the theatre. And also rejection, we were used to that as well, rejection, which is a big thing that we learned how to deal with from our theatre careers. So that's what we did for about 5 years. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I was going to say, so when I mean, we'll probably talk about objections and, you know, blocks and things you have to overcome with this business. And one of the things that often comes up is the nature of the business, the network marketing business. So having worked in the theatre for like the man, the boss, the big boss. I mean, I've worked for Andrew Lloyd Webber, Cameron McIntosh. So these are wealthy guys. I know that their wealth does not feed down to the people that work in the theatre, the people that work backstage, the crew, the dressers, the wiggies. You know, the hours they're doing, if you really, really looked into it, it's probably illegal, to be honest, some of the amount of hours they do in a week. So I've seen how that structure works, that business model works. I've also seen how franchise business works, where, you know, somebody is giving you the kit and the training to how to run your business, which I suppose you can get from doTERRA. But the initial costs to set up a local music business and all you got was just your postcode, so your area. You weren't allowed to do your business anywhere outside of that postcode. That initial cost was about £11,500. And then from then on, they continually took, I think it was something like 10% off the top of everything that you earned before your, you know, all your receipts and what you're paying for halls and hire and equipment. And then they took also a management fee every month. So you really didn't feel however hard you pushed and pushed and pushed, you just seemed to give them more and more and more and more. And this model doesn't seem to work like that. The more you actually work and the more you get, you only ever give doTERRA 100 PB or, you know, £90 or, you know, or 100 euros a month to get paid, and your initial cost of a kit. I mean, it's not comparable really. And then
for a business,
you can go as far as you like as well. You can go you can go to any extreme or any level you want. There's no cap. It's a completely different structure. It feels free. It feels like the shackles are off, and it's like if I go for this and I put that into this business, you're going to reward me. Whereas the other two businesses that we did before, like I say, working for the man and a franchise business, it doesn't feel like that, does it?
You were lucky if you got a Christmas card, I think.
You didn't get a Christmas card.
doTERRA, we still have to pinch ourselves these days for how kind they are and how much they appreciate us, and it's really special. Yeah. So going back, then 5 or so years ago, when I was looking for natural solutions for our family, because I found, as this mother who wanted to find all the answers, I was searching all over the place online, on the internet, ordering things in, and it can be quite a scary, isolating place, especially if you don't know that many other naturally minded people. And then a friend of mine, I came down with a really bad bout of tonsillitis or sore throat, you know, and a friend of mine said, well, would you like to try some of these oils? And she wasn't an advocate for doTERRA, but she was also naturally minded. And for me, I've always tried to avoid medication where I can. Obviously there's a time and a place for it, but I'd always much rather avoid it if possible. And this was a bad bout of tonsillitis. You know, I couldn't talk. I certainly couldn't sing at the music classes, and I remember I couldn't actually even move my neck. So if I had gone to the doctors, I would have come home with antibiotics for sure. And so she dropped around this little bottle of oil for me, and I was intrigued because you could use it in these different ways that I didn't know that you could do that with essential oils. And so I gargled some and swallowed some. That was the night before. The next morning I woke up and felt so much better, like miraculously better. And I just thought, wow, this is amazing. These oils, there's something in these. And that's where it started. But I didn't know that doTERRA was available or around in the UK at that time. You know, I hadn't really heard of it back then. And then as things have it, and as the universe works its own magic, a couple of weeks later, I find myself at the Mind, Body and Spirit show. And there's the doTERRA stand. Do you want to give her to me? And so of course I was excited. I went straight up, and I purchased a little kit, and I chatted to Nathan and Rebecca Bowles, who of course are your upline as well, I think. And I was really, you know, excited to get these bottles of oil open. And I found, you know, when I got them home, we were just absolutely loving everything that they were bringing to our lives. I was using them, Tim was using them, the children were using them, and naturally it became very easy to want to share them, you know, like it is, because everybody needs them. Everybody is crying out for natural solutions, and people are stuck with their health right now. So I couldn't help but share them. I was like the crazy mum at the school gate with my little potions, like the dealer. And naturally, people started to come to me. So fast forward 4 years on now, we found ourselves where we are, and I'm just so hugely grateful that we did open our hearts and our minds to this opportunity, which was unknown. Another thing I should probably add is that I wasn't necessarily into network marketing. I didn't understand it. I wasn't sure what it was, and I wasn't sure if it was right for us. But because I loved the oils so much, I knew that I could share them because I deeply believed in them. So belief is a massive thing for all of us. If we believe in the product that we're sharing, we can share it with anybody. And these oils, they change lives. Everybody will benefit from having them. Another little thing that I want to just sort of tie in here, that I think also explains, you know, the difference that this has made in our lives, is that 6 months into doing doTERRA, things were going quite well, and you know, I hit some ranks really early days, and I think I reached the rank of silver after about 6 months. So that was quick back then. Maybe not quite as quick as some of you guys. Like, I think Peter smashed it to diamond in 8 months, which is incredible, and people are doing it much faster. But back then, that was kind of quick, and I was doing it a lot on my own. We had 2 children, and we had our third, Ziggy. He was on the way. And so things were going well. It was bringing in some nice income for us, but Tim was still obviously doing the shows in London, and we had 12 classes of category music a week and a dog to walk. And, you know, so when Rebecca first said to me initially when I started doTERRA, so how much time do you think you have to invest into doTERRA, Emily? I think I said none. And I think she placed me down on her 4th level. Back then there was a little clause whereby if somebody that you enrolled hit Premier in the first 3 months, you can move them to wherever you want on your tree. And so that happened with me, and they obviously moved our position to work more closely with them. So after 6 months, we'd hit silver, and it came to the time of Tim's contract renewal for the show in London. And I remember that day we were at a golf club for a memorial for Tim's father, funnily enough. And we received a phone call, didn't we? We were just about to have our third baby, Ziggy, and we received a phone call to say that Tim's contract wasn't going. There was a new.
No, it was actually it was worse than that. It's actually an email.
Oh,
it wasn't even a phone call. So I'd worked for this company on and off for 20 years. So, and I just worked with them for 6 years solidly in the same show, you know, being very consistent and doing the same job, and, you know, being reliable and all the things that you expect to be. And the thing is with the job like this, it's just, you know, you're replaceable, and they just wanted to do a change. So I just got an email saying,
that's
you know,
it.
we want to freshen it up, so thanks very much. We're just about to have our third baby, but that didn't, you know, and that was where we were, and we were where we were. And I remember just thinking, what are we going to do? You know, we're going to have to get a job somewhere and do something. And it just occurred to me to just open every avenue and every door I possibly could to see if something would stick. And there was another job in the same show, which wasn't particularly as good. And I just said, well, can I do that instead? I mean, I really sort of, you know,
You had to dig deep.
yeah, I had to not lower myself, but, you know, I had to sort of, you know,
Your man pride was a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, because obviously someone then comes in and does the job you used to do, so you've got to spend a year with them, and, you know, that's okay. At least I had something to keep food on the table. But more importantly, it gave us that push to say, look, enough's enough. We can't rely on, you know, this business that someone can send you an email and say, right, you know, on your way. So we really need to get this right and knuckle down and make this, you know, something that we have forever.
We gave ourselves a year. we said a year of this, and we'll work really, really hard, and we know what we need to reach. We need to be diamond for Tim to be able to leave this job now, and for doTERRA to be able to be our lives. And so that's what we did. So we had a third baby, Ziggy, and Tim was working. We were also doing shows at the same time, and the classes, and work, wasn't it? Really intense, hard work. But the following year, when they actually asked Tim he would stay, he was able to say, "Well, thank you, but I'm going to leave, and I'm going to spend some more time at home and work with my wife and be with my family." And so that happened. And just, you know, looking back then, a huge thing for us, and still is really. And now we're so grateful for the time that we do have together. Not only that, we're able to sort of travel the world. Our children can come with us. doTERRA is such a family company. We can send them to a school, a Steiner school, that was only ever a dream for me because it was expensive. We can do that now, and we have just liberation and freedom and fulfillment at the same time. So it's quite special.
Yeah, we have done this surrounded by our children.
Yes,
and
like,
you know,
this.
and often, I mean, at the moment, things is, you know, we've got someone here, a lady that's been helping out with our children since we've had our first, and she's putting the other 3 to bed, but at any point any of them could run in, and, you know, it could all kick off, and, you know, and that's okay, because that's what we do, and people don't mind that. And, you know, I remember, Emily, when we first started, you were doing presentations and
webinars.
You were having Ziggy in a sling, and, you know, just the way it is. People aren't offended by that. Don't feel like you can't work with your children and have your children there. Everyone in doTERRA often has that same scenario. So don't let that be a reason why you can't build your business with your children, because you can.
Actually, I think part of our success has been the fact that we have shown people that that's possible. And by doing it ourselves, we give permission to other mothers, to other families that may feel a bit stuck or feel like they have no choice over what they do in their life. And they're just, you know, that's their job, that's how it is. There's nothing they can do about it or change. It sparks a little fire in their mind and in their hearts where they think, hang on a minute, if she can do that, I can possibly do that too. And
I think that's really just generally important throughout all of doTERRA, and people attracting people to the business and to wanting to be part of this journey with you, is that if you make it too difficult for them, or you make it seem unattainable to them, because you're, you know, hugely knowledgeable about essential oils, or, you know, you've got everything perfectly sorted out, and your presentation at your class is absolutely, you know, is perfect. You know, it just makes people go, I don't think I can do that. It's not something I could replicate. It's got to feel like people can also jump in and do the same thing. Yes, in their own way, but not to a level where they think, no, I just don't know enough to be able to do that, or don't have it set up like that. I mean, we don't, I mean, you can sort of see a little bit of our house right now. It does need, it's a work in progress.
We're on round 4 of planning permission application.
But we don't have an office.
No.
We have very little space in the house to actually have any room for our doTERRA business. And we've got by just by getting on with it and just doing it. You know, you can sometimes spend so long waiting for the perfect moment to start doing something, or I'm not quite set up ready to do this yet, or set up ready to do that. You actually never jump in. We never questioned any of that. We just get up in the morning and we just begin, and we just start the day, and we just do it all.
Jump in anyway.
We jump in with bits of paper all over the place, and we just get on with it. And we've managed quite well. And during that time, we've managed to filter it through a little bit and be a bit more organised. But, you know, don't wait and wait and wait and wait
for the right time.
Like, we could have waited till our office was done. You know, with that, we still haven't done our office, and we're still waiting for it. So, and now when we do our office, we'll probably get a nicer office than we would have done 4 years ago. So don't, you know, it's not hard to talk about the oils and share the oils. You don't do that.
I think it all depends on the story that you tell yourself. You know, you can't do it unless this or this or this. You can't do this. And these excuses that hold us back from doing the things that we know that we need to do to grow. or rewrite the story. You know, we use the oils to re-anchor our original state. It's the same thing. We need to re-anchor and get clear on why we can do things and not why we can't, because we all have limitless potential and we can all create whatever dreams we put our hearts into. You know, that's possible for all of us if we're committed to our vision and to our dreams.
So we hadn't planned too much what we were going to say tonight. We just thought we'd just feel it out as we go.
Flow.
But we started with we did a little write down a few things on a piece of paper, and the first bit was supposed to be 5 minutes long. And before we asked you, we were already half an hour in already, and we just like we haven't even got to the second bit of the 5 minutes. So,
no, but this is a good point, you see, because we've started to talk about obstacles, and this is something that I think is really important. So what we would like you to do, guys, is to type in some of the things and some of your reasons why not into the chat bar, and let's have a little bit of a conversation around that, okay? Because we all have our own reasons why we can't. We all have our own things that hold us back, you know, and if we listen to those stories that we tell ourselves, if I listen to the fact that I can't come and talk to another team because I've got Indy here and she could start crying, she could want feeding, I might not do it. But that's not the story that I'm gonna, and the tale that I'm gonna tell. So here she is. And, okay, so physical disabilities. Okay, so that is, and you know, health issues, of course, that's a big one. And you know, health, as I said before, health is the most important thing. So we do, of course, we need to look after ourselves, and we need to be gentle and kind to ourselves and to our bodies. But that is hugely inspiring. I mean, I'll never forget the time when I was at convention and everyone was walking across the stage, silvers and golds, and this little frail lady with a Zimmer frame headed across the stage, and not only that, she was actually blind, and she was walking as a silver. She'd been doing doTERRA since the beginning, and there she was flying her flag, and everybody was in tears. It was incredibly powerful, and I thought, my goodness me, she didn't let that hold her back. It may have taken her longer, and it may have been difficult and challenging at times, but she got there because she kept going in her own way. So, you know, hold on to that.
And, you know, if somebody, you know, it starts to be successful in doTERRA and they have a disability like MS and they start to grow their business, then how inspiring are you to all of your team and all the people that want to work with you? Hugely inspiring. This isn't just a journey for you. It's a journey that you're going to take everyone on with you. And you can be just as inspiring, you know, sitting down than you can be walking around. So don't let that hold you back. You're here, you're on this call. There's obviously something pulling you towards this. Both of you, you know, I don't know if you're a couple but there's, you know, you can be inspiring. You have a story to tell.
Powerful story. Time comes up a lot. So, you know, time is a choice, isn't it? We all have exactly the same amount of hours each week and exactly the same amount of hours each day. Now, some of us are busy, some of us have other work, especially when we're first starting doTERRA. We probably need to be earning income elsewhere until we start to earn, you know, enough from doTERRA if we want it to take over. You can't start there. So for when we started, we had no time. As I said, Rebecca Bowles said to me, how much time do you have? And I said, none. But time is a choice. So what I used to do is just find the small windows of time that I had. And the key thing that we need to keep doing in this business is connecting with people. So that's what I would do. So when we were driving to our Caterpillar music classes, I'd be sending people a text message here or there, and just connecting, or an email or a phone call. And that was doable. You know, I gave up watching television in the evenings, but that's because I love diving deeper into my essential oils and learning about those, and it became a passion very quickly. So I didn't feel like I was making any sacrifice there, and that's how it started to grow, you know, sowing those seeds all the time in the windows of opportunity that I had. And then it became a tsunami. Suddenly all these seeds started sprouting all over the place. I remember you used to come home from work and say, how was your doTERRA day? And I say, oh, well, in doTERRA today I did this, or I heard this, or, you know, I spoke to this person. And that's how it built. Even if it's just one thing a day, you have to keep that consistency going. And everybody can do that if you choose that you want to, if it's important enough to you, and your vision with doTERRA is important enough, then we can find the time to do that.
Yeah, like I think television is quite a big one. Like, you know, people that watch box sets and things like that. I saw something a year ago or something. It was the last episode of Game of Thrones, and it was the last time it was going to be shown, I think. And there was a new report, and it was that all these people were gathered together to watch this final episode, and they're all crying, and it was all very emotional, and, you know, how they're going to survive, how they're going to live now there's no more of this box set. I got absolutely no idea what it's about, what's going on. And like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I'd have so been on that and so been watching that. But you know what? I can watch that in 5 years' time. In fact, I look forward to finding out what all the fuss is about. You know, I used to know who was on X Factor and who was winning Strictly Come Dancing. I have no idea the last 4 years. I've got no idea what's going on because I've focused my time on not doing that and putting that energy into something else. And when what do they say about this business?
You take a few years of your life doing what other people won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life living the way that other people can't. And that's so true. You know, I love what Nadia said there. So she said, I have absolutely no time. I do this before 6 a.m, over lunch break, and between 9 and 11 in the evening. And that's inspiring.
Yeah.
And sometimes that is what it takes, you know, guys. This is not going to get handed to us on a plate. We've got to put the work in, but the sacrifices are worth it. A few years of intense work and being a bit uncomfortable, you know. Our life has been a juggle, believe me, with 4 children. And there are times when you think, what am I doing? This is really hard. Like, for example, 2 nights ago, I was invited to go to a supper club to talk about the oils. And it was the first time that I'd gone somewhere with Indy on my own. You know, she's 3.5 months old, and I've been doing classes with her, but I've always had Tim with me just in case, as we feel our way together. And I thought, you know, she'll be absolutely fine. And she was fine during the class, but it was the traveling, it was the car journey there and the car journey back. And she started to really cry. I got stuck in terrible traffic. I was late. And there are moments, aren't there, when you think, oh, why am I doing this? This is really hard. I could have cried, but I didn't. But that's the thing. You put yourself through those more challenging times when it can feel icky, and you will be the person to see the benefits. And most of the time it's amazing. It's not like that, but you do have those moments where you question, what's this all about? This is hard, you know. But to make a big success and to be able to reach your dreams and reap all those benefits for the rest of your life, it's worth a bit of grit and a bit of hustle, for sure. Okay.
I'm just reading this. Someone's put about obviously Tanya's growing in South Africa, and just saying that the kit's, you know, a bit expensive over there, and, you know, money's quite tight for lots of people. I don't know what the average wage of someone is in South Africa, but I do know that the countries where kits seem a bit expensive, one country that springs to mind is Romania. Romania opened a few years ago, and it is
flying,
the fastest growing market in Europe, maybe even in the world. And they can't afford that many kits either. And this is because the doTERRA business pays the same wage wherever you live in the world. You can live in the poorest country in the world or the wealthiest country in the world, you still get paid the same amount. So therefore, you know, hitting a rank of, say, silver or even premier, you know, in a country like Romania is you know, can pay the bills and pay for a roof over your head.
Well,
where we live, you know, that wouldn't work for us. We wouldn't be able to survive on that. So you maybe, Tanya, need to think about that opportunity for people and how that could, you know, they don't have to get to a hugely high rank maybe to be able to reward, you know, themselves the benefits of of the business. So they just need to make sure that they do influence people that can afford to buy the kits, and at the same time helping people with the oils in other ways. So
yes, and so Elena Kimpoesu, I think that's how you pronounce it, from Romania. She's a presidential diamond from Romania, built really fast. She said that her average monthly wage is the average wage over 3 years in Romania. And I think, you know, again, it depends what story you tell yourself, because you know, you could have started off as a wellness advocate in doTERRA and decided that no one can afford the oils here and it's not a good business model, or you can look at it through a different lens and decide, actually, this is an incredible opportunity for a country where their earnings are quite low. And I think that's what's happened, the latter, because people are jumping on board like anything because they want a piece of that cake. And so,
but you would have never thought, oh, Romania, got to get into Romania, that's going to be the, you know, what a great market that's going to be. It would have never been something that you'd have, but there you go, it just shows you. So
yeah,
and then South Africa is, you know,
incredible opportunity.
It's untouched, and that, you know, I think that it's a great opportunity, and I'm disappointed that we're not, you know, doing more out there ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys, you've got to go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah. So, you know, going back to the excuse that we can sometimes make for ourselves around having a young family, that's a big one. So I've got a few tips that I've made for you. Actually, I had a call the other night with another team, and again, they wanted to hear about how we built our business with a young family, because that can be busy and stressful on its own. It's a full-time job. So some of the notes that I made down are, you know, get up early, perhaps get up before the house is awake. You know, I'm not always great at that, if I'm honest, but you know, if that's what it takes, if you don't have other time in the day, then set your alarm early so you get a few, you know, a few minutes, an hour or so, to be able to focus on the day ahead and focus on what you need to do, especially if time is limited. You know, really get clear on what those key tasks that you want to achieve that day are. And when I talk about, you know, the key things, it might be 3 things. It might be that you make a list of 3 things, and so you really don't overwhelm yourself with this, you know, long to-do list. And then when you don't achieve it, you feel disappointed. Keep it simple. 3 things that you want to achieve, or maybe just one thing that's going to move your business forward, one key business generating activity, which is always contacting people and building relationships. You can schedule your time. You know, I have to admit, we're not hugely organized people, but we've got better at it, and that can help. But obviously you're going to want to fit in the things that are most important to you. So when you think about your week ahead, it's a bit like filling up that glass jar and putting the rocks in first, the really important things, and then the smaller pebbles and the sand can just fit around the outside. So you know, it's building a jigsaw puzzle, isn't it, where you fit the key pieces in first, and then the rest will come if there's time. Another thing that we do as a family is we do things together. We've always wanted to be together anyway. We love being together, and that's one of the blessings that doTERRA brings. So I like to involve the children. You know, when we go to the post office, we'll go together. They get excited about posting their letters. We'll do stickers together, and you know, get the children involved. Help the whole family to understand the vision of why you're doing this, because you know, everyone might be making sacrifices, but if children actually start to understand the benefits that this business, that this career can bring for the whole family, they might appreciate and start to understand it a little bit more, and get behind you. And obviously, if you have support from your family, then that's equally helpful.
And support from your partner as well, if they're not supportive of you, or you know, it's important that you feel that support from them. And if you don't feel like, sometimes, you know, you just need to sort of say, look, I'm going to have a go at this. I'm going to do this. I'm giving this a good shot. I've listened and I've done some trainings, and I genuinely believe that this is going to be something that could really be good for us. If you don't give me support, or at least you know, let me, you know, do this without me feeling guilty about doing it, it's going to make it so much more difficult for me, and I'm still going to do it. So why don't you just, you know, support me? humor me if you like, but just don't make it more difficult for me, and let me have a good go at this, and help me sometimes to, you know, to with the children and stuff like that, to give me the best opportunity. Why would a partner not want to do that,
Yeah,
for
well,
you, or a family member not want to do that for you?
yeah, I think, you know, I think a good thing would be to sort of say, let's give this a good shot and see where it takes us. And then often you find, a lot of the time, you find the women start, and then when the men start to see the money coming in, they get involved as well.
I think one of the big leader, I can't remember, it was saying when they started, they got a little bit, you know, negativity from their partner maybe, and they just used to get up really, really early when everyone was awake, or stay up late when everyone had gone to bed. And in the end, the partner was just like, wow, this means a lot to you, doesn't it? And that was the start of the kind of, you know, softening of the idea of it.
Absolutely. So I've written down as well, don't turn on the social media first thing, or just schedule some time in for that each day, especially if your time is limited. That can be a huge waste of time. I mean, it can be very inspiring as well, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is building those connections with other people, and building those relationships. Also, you know, when I'm working at home and we've got the children around, we make life difficult for ourselves because we try not to let our children have too much screen time, especially the school they go to, they discourage this. So what we do is when we go to the events, then our children, they're allowed to watch the iPad, and you can always guarantee that they'll love it because they're never allowed it normally. But what an idea is that you could do in the daytime if your children are around and you've got a nice meeting, is have like a special cupboard that they can't have access to, and have a couple of really cool toys in there that are going to take some time for them to get through, like a really fun jigsaw puzzle or a sorting game, or some food that's going to provide a good distraction as well. And then you can sort of pull those out when you've got an important meeting, or a phone call or something like that, and again explain to them that what's happening, and why. And again, you know, if they do come and interfere and get involved, that's real life, and people find that inspiring anyway. Encourage independent play. Don't, you know, as mothers we get this mummy guilt, don't we? But actually independent play and boredom is really good for our children, because that's when their creativity and their imaginations start to grow. And so boredom, I always tell my children, well, boredom is great because you never know what's around the corner. You know, it allows children to really step into their imaginary world. So we don't have to put them in front of a screen. You know, they will find ways to occupy themselves, and that's wonderful. Another idea is you can do a swap service with a friend. So say, for example, you've got another friend who is also trying to get some work done around her family, then you could kind of share sitting services. So, you know, 1 week she could come round to your house and she looks after all the children while you go into the bedroom and do some work. And another week you could swap that, and you'll go round to her house and you go into the bedroom and do some work, or something like that. You know, it doesn't cost anything. But it helps. So also take advantage of nap time with your children. You know, we don't really have a schedule with nap times, but I know that Indy will generally fall asleep at some point in the morning, mid-morning. So I know I can get a little bit of time then. Set yourself your boundaries as well when you're working as a family, because otherwise time can just roll into time, and you'll find that, you know, there is no boundary, and you're working and you're having family life all together. And we're not always great at that, if I'm honest. You know, we've really had to work hard at that, and we're still working hard at that. But I think there does have to be that protected time, that family time, where you're not doing work, where your phones maybe go in the basket or something like that. And allow yourself to say no to the things that do not serve you, because I'm certainly somebody that's always wanted to please other people and say yes to everything. But if time is limited, then your priority has to be the things that you need to get done, because you can't help other people if your own cup is not full. Only when is it overflowing can you best serve others. So don't be afraid to say no to things if the time is not right and it doesn't help to transport you towards your own goals. And I think it's really important, again, just to add in here, that you're going to have to hustle and you're going to have to juggle. It's not going to be handed to you on a plate. And I think it's a good thing that it's not handed to you on a plate, because, you know, when you're walking through the valleys, it needs that mud there, it needs to be thick and gooey, and there needs to be rocks, it needs to be hard, because that's how you build the stamina, that's how you develop the strong muscles and the thicker skin to be able to climb the mountain and reach the top. Okay, so you have to know that every leader that gets to the top, there are going to be challenges along the way, and that's good. You've got to expect them, you've got to embrace them, because they make you better, and they'll make you a stronger leader to be able to help your team as well when they go through the same. And also take the pressure off yourself. You know, if things don't go the way that it's planned, you've got to let go of that perfection, and be the imperfectly perfect you. You know, you all have limitless potential, and you are all amazing and have full capabilities if you commit yourself and you go all in. And it's okay not to be perfect. It's better to be you. Go take a walk, stop, have, you know, a little bit of time outside, take you some deep breaths when things get challenging and hard. Put on some music in the kitchen and dance with the children, and, you know, make this fun as well. So has that helped with some of, you know, the things that we do to kind of juggle family life in this business?
Definitely.
Good. And has anyone else got any other kind of questions that you wanted to go through or ask? Or
I kind of ask you a couple of them. First of all, where did you get so wise? Have you always been this wise, or did you learn that in life before, or did you terror, or?
I don't know. That's very sweet of you. But, you know, I think we all have feelings of not being enough or not feeling good enough, and actually we just need to get ourselves out of the way, don't we, and step into our greatness so that we can give permission to other people to do the same. So, you know, all of those feelings and those fears that we all have, we just need to get round them, because the confidence, it lies on the other side. And yeah, so there are some nice books for that as well, for you know, believing in yourself and in what your purpose is and why you're here, and helping you to shine your light. Some of the books I love are, well, this one, I brought it in here, it's one of my favorites. There's a lot of wisdom in this book. Light is the New Black by Rebecca Campbell. It's quite it's all about shining your light. You know, it might not appeal to all of you guys, but for me it really speaks to my heart. So that's one of my favorites. And then there's another book I love called You Are a Badass. Bit of a strange title, but it's quite funny, actually. It's quite amusing, and again, it's just about stepping into your zone and being confident to rise up. And so that's You Are a Badass is by Jen Sincero. Judgment Detox, anybody know Gabby Bernstein?
Yeah,
she's great. And the Judgment Detox is quite a powerful book, because, well, we worry about being judged by others when actually a lot of the time we're just judging ourselves. So it kind of dives into both of those things. And again, I like to listen to audiobooks. So if I go out for a walk or for a run, I love to shove an audiobook in my ears and just listen to a little bit, or when I'm cooking or something, just to get some wisdom. So that you know, when I started doTERRA, I never listened to any sort of personal development books at all, and I didn't understand why everybody loved them so much. I think I had a bit of a block there, and then I realized couple of months in that, okay, maybe I don't need them. I thought I didn't need them. Maybe I don't need them, but maybe my team needs them. So I should listen to them to try and help the team. And then when I started listening to some of these books, I was like, oh my goodness, I did need them. And I love them. So I would encourage you to do a little bit of daily listening. I'm listening to Earth is Hiring at the moment by Peter Jean Kelly. Earth is Hiring. That's another beautiful book. And you, what's your favourite?
Yeah, no, I was going to I was going to change the subject slightly. I was going to say, like when you grow up and you're younger and you think, if I'd have just learned to, play the piano when I was younger, if I'd just learned to do this when I was younger, I could have been doing it now. If I'd just learned that language, I could be speaking Spanish now. Or, all those things you look back on in your life and you think it's too late now, and, and you think you've missed the boat. Try and think of yourself in 10 years' time, giving yourself the advice where you are now, and saying to yourself, really, if I could just tell myself in 10 years' time to look back on me and say, look, you really could do a few hours of this a day, or, a few hours a week with doTERRA. You could do this and give yourself the best opportunity to see where you could be in the 10 years' time, the self that's looking at you. Because I still think that, essential oils generally and doTERRA, you still have to kind of, apart from your obvious people who are very naturally minded, there is still kind of like an education, and it's still they're not flooding into you. There's definitely a shift coming in natural medicine, in plant-based medicine. It's definitely coming all over the world. People are going to be looking for alternatives, other options, and doTERRA sits beautifully right where you want it to sit, with everything available to help with everything. And it's what we've got, all of us guys, all of you and all of us, primed. And I just think it's worth, putting this time and effort in now. Don't be someone, first of all, everyone on this call, does everyone know in your community that you're doing doTERRA? Does everyone know to come to you? Have you come out of your doTERRA closet? Are you available? Because that's another thing. Sometimes people struggle even to do that. So let people know that you're an advocate, that you can get the oils from them, because this wave is coming, and you need to get prepared to be on it. And if you're not on it, people aren't going to know to come to you. We're seeing this happening all the time. So just get yourself available. At least open yourself up to someone that people want to come to get the oils. Don't shy away because
you're afraid of being judged.
You're afraid of being judged because
that's just you judging yourself.
Yeah,
often. Yeah, totally. Go all in. Give yourself the opportunity that you deserve. This is your time.
So Robin's just saying, how do you get around the fact that people are skeptical about the oils? Become unskeptical about the oils yourself.
Yeah,
that's you probably.
I think you need to commit to your daily use.
I know. We've used the oils for 4 years. We've got 4 children, and there's 6 of us in the house, and we haven't used Calpol or Nurofen or antibiotics or anything at all in the whole 4 years. Okay, that's not coincidence, is it? That's because we would go to them if we needed to, but the oils have always been that place we've started at, and we've never needed them to go to anywhere else. If people are skeptical of that, then let them be skeptical, but it comes from you. It comes from within you, and that the truth comes from you. And if you live the oils, then they won't be as skeptical.
It's your daily consistent commitment to using the products, and that will bring you the belief that you need to share them. So if you haven't got that, get using them more, and sharing them more, and then your experiences and the experiences of the people that you know that are also trying the oils, that will bring you the belief that you need to propel forwards.
That's fabulous. Thank you. I was just wondering, obviously you kind of achieved that goal of having Tim work with you and not have to worry about jobs and that sort of thing now. So what's your sort of vision going forward? What's the next things for you? What are you looking forward to?
Well, your why changes, doesn't it? So that was our why. Initially, it was to have more time together as a family and to have more financial freedom. And our why right now, well, we're working on presidential, and it will come when the time is right, but we're working hard, and we're not going to stop there. We're going to keep going. I think once we've done the things that we want and need to do in our lives, we really want to be able to help other people, don't we?
Yeah, well,
Tim's
I
been
mean,
working in Uganda.
So I think the our greatest doTERRA moment, for me anyway, I think probably for Emily as well, that we've had is last month when one of our good friends and someone we've worked with very closely got to Diamond for the first time, Kathy, and that was, you know, I was trying to say this before, but you know, do you like receiving a present, or do you like the thrill that you get when someone opens a present and you see the joy in their face? You know, for us, that was just, you know, to see people, you know, achieving their goals, and you've had a small part of that to help them with that. That fills your cup. You know, you're good with that. So I think we want to get to where we want to get to in our business, but we also want to make sure that those people that have trusted with us and gone on that journey with us, we get them, help them to get them to where they need to be as well, because it's no fun being up at the top of the mountain on your own, is it?
No.
So we want some people to come with us. So that's really key for us. And then, like we have lots of ideas about things we would like to do, charities we'd like to get involved in, projects we'd like to get involved with.
Tim's going to go back to Uganda again. Yeah,
I do start quite a bit of stuff in Uganda, but just, you know, just even more locally. And, you know, I feel like I'm just not quite at that point yet where we're still pushing with our business, but yeah, we will want to give as much back as we can locally too.
I have a dream that we can set up a theatre company for children with special needs and disabilities, because that kind of ties all of the passions together. So we've got lots of things that we'd like to work towards.
We'd like an office and a kitchen,
a
lighter kitchen, and a few things like that. But well, we're
get there. Come on, fingers crossed for the planning permission. They can be a bit tricky in London. Okay.
Cool. That's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
For your time. It's just it's been really, really inspirational. It's lovely to talk to you as always. But yeah, so thank you very much, Al. I know you burst into.
I'm emotional now. Incredible, thank you. I'm so blessed to have met you and spent the time that we have, and you've always inspired us with your passion, the way you support your team, your whole outlook, ethos, just been amazing. So we just feel very blessed to have met you really early on in our journey, I guess, and thank you so much for helping our team and the wider team, and you know, the way that you've inspired us. It's just been amazing. It's been an incredible call. Thank you so much.
You guys, you're amazing leaders. You know, all of you guys, we have a lot of respect and love for you as well, and so your whole team are in amazing hands, and it's an incredible opportunity right now. So you know, keep going and
come and you know, come to events. You know, come to the convention in Rome. This is when you're going to meet lots of other people as well, and you're going to feel the company,
the community,
and that will get you through so many other blocks that you might have. It'll just open you up. So just it's really important to try and come to those things as well if you can.
And when those hurdles come, because they will come, you need to appreciate them. You need to go, yes, there we go, here's one of those hurdles that's going to make me stronger.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So much. Incredible. Thank you very much for all of your